Hello everybody. In this video we will be learning about physical and chemical properties. Physical and chemical properties of matter. It could be elements, it could be compounds. And so physical and chemical properties of matter. Grab the pen. So we talk about physical and chemical properties of matter, not only elements or compounds. So what is a physical property? Physical property is a property that can be observed without changing what the substance is. So basically not losing it. Okay, by not losing the substance, not changing the identity of the substance. So if it is water, okay, I can freeze it into ice, I can evaporate it into vapors, gas, but it is still water. So I am not changing the substance. If it is mass or volume, so it will stay what it is. It's just that if I have a long pencil, I break it and it's still pencil. So that kind of properties that don't change the substance. So that is a physical property. A chemical property is the ability to react. Okay, like elements make compounds. Compounds are decomposed back into elements. So a chemical property has to deal with chemical reactions. Okay, chemical reactions. So let's talk about what is a chemical property. So like color, if you have something of a big piece of red color, paper of a red color, and if I turn it into half, it will still be red, right? So the property like color will not change. If something is red, it's going to stay red or blue or white. So density is also mass over volume. Even if I give you a bigger mass, it will take a bigger space. So overall density will not change. Flammability means reaction with oxygen. Okay, so you're putting it on flames, you're putting it on fire. Fire means something is going to react to oxygen. So blue color would be, what do you think? Physical or chemical? Blue color will be physical. Density will be physical. It has nothing to do with a chemical reaction. To tell the color, actually let me give you a different explanation. To tell the color, I don't have to go through a chemical reaction, do I? Okay, maybe that's a better way to explain it. I'm explaining properties, not changes. So if I need to tell that something is blue or black or white or purple, I don't have to go through a chemical reaction. So that is the physical property. If I have to calculate the density, I take the mass, I take the volume, I don't do a chemical reaction. Alright? So that is the physical property. But whether something is flammable or not flammable, I have to make it go through, put on fire. I have to make it react. So that is chemical property. So any property that involves a chemical reaction is a chemical property. So let me explain it here. Any property that involves a chemical reaction, like you cannot tell about it until you react it, is a chemical property. And a property that does not require a chemical reaction to be explained or told. You want to talk about the color or the size or the shape or even the melting point, boiling point. They don't react to tell that what is the melting point or boiling point. All you have to do is that heat it, so it will evaporate, or you freeze it and it will freeze. So melting point, boiling point, density, mass, color, you don't have to do chemical reactions to tell these things. Length, these are all physical properties. You may also see the words here, like whenever the word react comes, it becomes a chemical property. Whether something is sour in taste, that's also a physical property because you're not going through a chemical reaction when you're tasting it. Combustion means reaction with oxygen. Okay, combustion means reaction with oxygen. So that is again a chemical property. Luster means shiny, whether something is shiny or dull. Okay, odor means smell. Then there should be words malleable, ductile. I don't see this. So malleable means you can slice something into sheets like aluminum foil sheets. So again, you don't have to go through a chemical reaction to turn something into sheets. So that's malleable. Okay. And then there is another word that you need to learn that is called ductile. Ductile means you can turn this into wires. So again, you don't have to go through a chemical reaction to turn something into wires. So these are all physical or chemical properties. Okay, so complete the page and then we will go over the answers later on. The next thing we want to talk about is a physical or chemical change. So a change that I was explaining earlier on, a change in intermolecular forces is a physical change. It does not change the substance. Okay, it does not change the substance. So what I was explaining earlier, like if you have water, so if you want to put this water in the freezer, what are you doing? You're reducing the heat or the kinetic energy of the particles. They slow down, they settle down, they hold each other strongly. So their intermolecular forces, we call it IMF. Intermolecular forces get stronger and they turn into solid. Okay, so that's freezing. So as you're freezing it, the intermolecular forces is going to get stronger because you're lowering the temperature. As you lower the temperature, the kinetic energy goes down. As the kinetic energy goes down, the particles will settle down, close together, and they hold each other strongly, so they turn into a solid. And that's called freezing. I take that ice cubes, particles who are holding each other very tightly, and I start heating it. Okay, so they get more energy, they move fast, they get further away. So the intermolecular force, the force that was holding them together strongly, get weaker. Okay, so IMF is getting weaker, and when IMF is getting weaker, okay, they're going to turn the solid into liquid, and if I keep heating it, it will turn into gas. But I can always convert it back. I can cool it, go back. So in this, I'm not changing the substance. If it was water here, it was water when it was ice. It is water when it is liquid. It is water here, and it is water even if it is a steam. So if you don't change the substance, you're only playing with the intermolecular forces. That is a physical change. Or you take, as I said, a big pencil, okay, and you break that pencil into two small pieces, it is still pencil. Okay, so that's a physical change. You just change the size of it. If I take the butter and I melt the butter, it is still butter. I can still use it. So as long as the substance does not lose its identity, it is a physical change. But if a substance has lost its identity, like you take a paper and you burn the paper, so what do you get now? Okay, you get ashes, and it's not a paper anymore. There is no way that I can reverse the process. I can never go back. Okay, it's only one way. Like if I toast a bread, I cannot convert it back into the bread. If I bake the cake, I cannot convert that cake back into the batter of the cake. So if the grass is growing, I cannot force it back into the seed. I mean, I can cut the grass, but I cannot force it back into the seed. So a change, that's a permanent change that you cannot reverse, is a chemical change. But a physical change is you can go forward, you can go backward, no change in substance. So it is only the state of matter is changing, the size is changing. That is a physical change. So, but if it is a chemical change, it's a chemical reaction is involved in it for a chemical change. Okay, that's what is changing the substance. So how do I know that there has been a chemical reaction? How do I know there has been a chemical change? So I'll look for 5 signs. If I see bubbles, like it's fizzling, so that means a gas is produced. If I see bubbles, that means the substance has gone through a chemical change. If I see a change in smell, okay, that means the substance has gone through a chemical change. If I see a color change, the substance has gone through a chemical change. If I see a temperature change, you know, the temperature is, you lost the temperature, temperature is given out, heat is given out, or heat is taken in, so it's going to get colder, heat is taken in. So this is, if I touch it, the temperature goes up or temperature goes down. So if I see a temperature change, that means there has been a chemical change. If I take two clear liquids, and if I take two clear liquids, like liquid A and liquid B, okay, liquid A and a liquid B, and I mix them together, and first of all they both were clear liquids. Now as soon as I mix them together, they make very thick precipitates, at the bottom here. So a thick solid is formed. A thick solid is formed. We call it precipitates. So if out of the clear liquid you see the formation of precipitates, that means there has been a chemical change. Formation of precipitates, that means there has been a chemical change. So this question will be on the test, that you need to write down the 5 signs of chemical reaction or chemical change, and these are the 5 signs of chemical change you have to memorize. So we learned about physical and chemical properties, and we learned about physical and chemical changes. You need to go ahead and complete this page and tell me what is physical change or what is chemical change. So that's all in this video. I'll talk to you later. Thank you. Bye-bye.